I wrote that because it's based off my own life. And, I struggled with mental health and have, overcome various aspects of it. But, it's such a real journey. And I just wanted to write it as a cathartic experience. Right before we filmed, we kind of hit a roadblock, just spiritually. And we were like doubting ourselves. I was doubting myself. Do I really want to make this film, like spend money and do it? And so we all kind of sat down and had like a really meditative heart-to-heart moment. And in that moment, actually, I had kind of this moment where I realized how we're never ready in life to do something. And so, at that moment, we decided we have to make this to encourage people. I want to share this story of mental health and overcoming that to those who have been affected by mental health. To have this story reach all the way over to The Hague in the Netherlands was like, wow, it really, it crossed boundaries, right? Something that, anyone can experience, right? Like it touched someone on the other side of the world. And so I think for me, it felt like I was doing something right. I wasn't trying to go change the world. I was just telling a story, and somehow it's affected people, so it means a lot. Yeah.
I just wanted to make someone laugh who is going through a hard time. So that was just kind of my intention. But it does mean so much, because that means suffering is universal.
Yeah.
As well as the ability to have hope is universal. And so for it to reach an international audience, it was kind of like, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're alone, that we could all share in this moment together. So I think that was such a reminder, at least for me, of the power of filmmaking. Like it doesn't have to be just like a United States topic, or it doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
Just a personal thing. If it's personal, it's gonna touch somebody. So that was like a really cool reminder too of like we tell stories so that we could be together. Doesn't the founder talk about imaginative empathy as part of that too? I feel like acting or just storytelling is one of the greatest ways. Through perceiving the other person, you actually get to know yourself. I think especially in this day and age, everything becomes very self-perceived. Whether it's like just even having a selfie or a camera, like we're not meant to look at ourselves so much. But I think in watching the story of Ron, you really get to know yourself and how you even respond to it. I think my goal is through the film that people really get to see someone else's perspective in life.
Especially in American society. I think it's changed over time, but there's still very little conversation about mental health and doing something about it. And so I think that's why, part of this story is about this conversation between, the protagonist and a therapist, right? To open the conversation up a little bit more about mental health and the active seeking of mental health therapy. Definitely the conversation has moved forward in terms of the availability of mental health therapies. And I think I want to continue pushing that conversation forward, just so that there is a voice in it in the entertainment industry. And I feel like when you see yourself being depicted on a screen, then the world becomes that much closer, smaller, for you to feel part of, and not so big and mysterious, especially in a topic like this. So, I hope it just opens more conversations with people about this topic.
I also think it's important that it is an Asian protagonist. In Asian communities, we don't really talk about mental health that much.
Yeah, it's true.
And art imitates life as well as life imitates art. And so in that, I hope that it just helps people,
For sure,
like
for
that
sure.
It doesn't become such a taboo topic or anything like that.
I think having this exposure to different cultures and different mentalities at Soka, has allowed me to have a viewpoint where it's flexible, my viewpoint is just one viewpoint. It's my lived-in viewpoint, but that's not the viewpoint, right? And so I think having had that training at SUA helped me become an artist, person who wants to create things, have more of a kind of an open perspective to how I approach things. Yes, there's a story to tell, but when you have a collaboration of people of multiple backgrounds and life experiences, and you're open to that, then the collaboration becomes like this dance. And so you present one viewpoint, another person will present another one, and then suddenly, because you have these really unique viewpoints, you're able to meld together even a more beautiful story or creative platform. And so I think ultimately, having had the multiple, the various experiences with the world basically at this school, I feel like it's really helped me become someone who's not just stuck on one narrative in the creative endeavor, but really just allowed myself to listen to other people, their opinions and ideas, and strive together to a common goal. I think that has helped me a lot. This production, this time around, was a lot different from Masaru, in that there was just this immense level of joy. Not that Masaru didn't have joy. I think Masaru had was digging deep and facing a lot. The energy was really joyful. Everything was very, it felt like everything was coming together pretty seamlessly, only because we broke through at the beginning of this project. So the death-defying dialogue that we had was in pre-production, when I had written the script and I had pulled Miho and Phil together. We were the core team, and I just said, guys, I don't know if I want to make this. I'm doubting whether I want to do this or not. And Phil and Miho were like, oh, okay. So we all just kind of the energy dropped. And so we said, let's have a heart-to-heart. In 2002, our class was invited to go to a meeting in Japan, invited by the founder. My father had encouraged me to bring a gift to the founder. And I was like, what am I gonna bring? The founder has everything. And my father said, let it come from your heart. I looked over and I saw my junior Olympic gold medal that I had won in figure skating as a competitive figure skater. And I said, I want to present, the founder my junior Olympic gold medal. And so the day of the meeting, we had found out that we were gonna have a commemorative photo with the founder. And the staff at that time asked, is Michael Sasaki here? And I raised my hand and said, okay, well, the founder really appreciated your gesture. He actually wants you to give it to him in person. I just started having a panic attack inside. I was like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? I'm not ready. And I almost felt kind of backed up against the wall, because I felt in that moment I was really nobody and I had nothing to show for, in a sense. Why does this person wanna see me? And all this insecurity came out, and I just didn't feel ready. But regardless, it was still going to happen. And so we took the photo with the founder, and the founder stood up, and I was able to present my gold medal to Dr. Ikeda, and I shook hands with him, and he really shared his gratitude. And so I remember this moment, and I realized in this moment what the founder was teaching me was that we will never be ready in life to face life. And so one must take one step forward no matter what, right? And I always look at that moment as a turning point for me, a prime point for me. Whenever I face kind of a momentous decision in life, when I have to make a momentous decision in life, I remember this moment and think I have to, take one step forward. And so in this moment, I turned to Phil and Miho and I said, we're doing it. We're doing it no matter what. And no matter what, challenges we face, we are going to tell the story. And it was like a switch. And it was because of that kind of shift in our hearts, everything fell into place. I think everything came together so seamlessly. And I really feel it was through having this kind of deep, what's in your heart kind of conversation, which is, I think, the kind of dialogue the founder really encourages to foster.
When I became a student, I initially wanted to be a therapist. So my whole goal was to do social behavioral studies and kind of go that route, because I struggled with mental health in high school, and I just thought that would be the most use out of my education. But during core, we really got to study philosophy, and I just really fell in love with literature. And so I just was like, I'm gonna do humanities, and just every class I took ended up being a literature class. I don't know what I was thinking, but I think at the time I just chased the joy of learning. Especially being at the school, we learned so much through other people and our peers and from the professors that I just wanted to make use of my education in that way. Years later, I just never thought I'd be an actor. But I say that because, at SUA, we're giving so much freedom to explore who we want to be or the kind of things we want to do. My class actually helped with the garden. So in that way, I think it's instilled in me that we actually have a lot of freedom in being able to explore the things that we want to do, right? So for our project, I ended up editing so much of it, not really having experience being an editor. YouTube became my best friend, not really even having experience in comedy. But I think being an SUA student, we just have the we can do it, let's do it attitude. Because we are really the protagonists at the school to just be what is the kind of school you want to create as well. So yeah, I just sat down and was like, what have I signed up for? And we went through so many iterations of it. But what I always went back to was what I went back to when I was studying literature is, what do I feel the most and what touches me the most? And that is the story that I think story is about. And I feel like as artists, we have this pressure, especially in the industry that we're in, to kind of always cater to the voices of everybody else. And so, through this project too, that's what I never want to betray. I don't necessarily know what projects I get to choose to do. Really, I don't know about that, but I know I never want to betray my heart, especially because that's what our founder taught us. And I think that's why maybe our story resonated with so many people, because it's just our hearts are in it. And so, yeah, I think SUA really taught me how to protect what that is and just continue to honor that voice as an artist or as an actor or as an editor or a storyteller, whatever hat that we decide to put on at the time.
There were so many things that we had to do. Miho really just jumped in and became so many things at once. You were the assistant director, the actress, the producer, coordinator. There were so many things that I was truly amazed by Miho's capability, and really it showed me how capable our Sohokai family is, just because here at the school, it's not just the education, it's everything else around that teaches us to become so capable in many fields. So I just want to say thank you for all of your incredible work. Yeah.
This is only in hindsight, because I think I didn't have that awareness being, I never thought I'd be an actor. I never thought I would be an artist. I was so invested. Like I thought I was gonna be a farmer or farm to table cook. Like that was just my journey. It's only when I came back to LA that I just fell into this industry. But in hindsight, I took a physics class, and our physics class at SUA, I don't know if it's like this still, is the philosophy of physics. And so you really learn how these great scholars learned about the world and the universe. And my final project was using a physics equation to demonstrate how distance measures love. And I created a film about it as my final project, as well as a paper. And I think, I don't know if that defines it, but it was just one of the moments that I was always wanting to do things a different way. It's just my nature to be a little rebellious, and I think SUA really helps foster those people with that kind of spirit. So I'm still really close to that professor, and I actually come back to teach an acting class now every core for that same professor. But I feel like that was one of those defining moments of like, oh, it's okay to be you, because you have just a perspective, and this is how you see the world, and this is how you want the world to just kind of see it through your lens. Looking back, like, oh yeah, I think I was maybe always an artist all this time. And the SUA just kind of helped reveal who that was. Just through classes, yeah. I think, and just like the opportunities that we really got as students. It's not just about what we produce, right? Because filmmaking is such a collaborative art form, in that there's so many roles people play, whether it's the craft services people or costumes or the producers. Like we just touch so many hands. And I think maybe that's what he means, like we're not just isolated in the thing that we're making, but through our behavior as a human being, that's how we actually demonstrate what it means to have unity or peace together. And of course, like the product itself is great, but I really felt like that's why our project was so joyful, because we really single-mindedly wanted to make this story to encourage others. And that's what an architect does, right? It's not just the building, but it's like who's involved in it, what is the backbone of the project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a deep question that I ask myself is like, what's the philosophy behind the architect? Mm-hmm. Is an important thing to think about as we drive forward any project, right? It's really what's behind the philosophy of the architect, And so I think for me, always having the feeling of how can I connect with this one life? How can I encourage this one person, no matter what project I'm on, whether I'm doing a small role or a behind the scenes role or in front of the camera, at all times, how can I create a world where all people feel respected? I think that's the kind of like philosophy I'd like to have in, constructing a peaceful world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna quote a famous, she's the queen of drags, RuPaul.
Oh, yes.
She has said that everyone has their own frequency. And, the most important thing is to tap into your own frequency. And to me, along with what I shared before, yes, don't rush, and don't give up. I think it's really be honest with yourself and truly find your own voice. Everybody has their own voice, and in a world where we feel so compelled to fit this idea of what we think we need to be, I think it's truly important to find your own voice and to stand by it no matter what. I think that's really important as we move forward in this world of, lots of information that's wild. It's so important to find your voice and stick to it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, in a similar vein, I think when I graduated, I was so stuck on the global citizen part of our mission statement. And recently, I just had my 10-year reunion last year, and I'm really starting to understand that to live a contributive life is actually the most important part. The global citizen, it comes from being contributive, I think. And so in order to be contributive, we ask how, and I really feel like it's by honoring our heart again, and like letting that be like, okay, well, this is how I want to share my heart, and this is how I want to contribute. How do I be of service to other people? Everything is just so becoming like enclosed with technology and social media and all of these things. But in order to widen it, we have to be of service. And so I think to be an artist is to be of service, And so, yeah, I think that's the message that I would share is like, how can you be of service to others?